Many people think that a 9 to 5 job is the safest route, especially if you work in healthcare. But what if I told you that relying on that route is probably the riskiest thing that you can do right now? You see, just a few weeks ago, big healthcare companies like UCSD and Sharp Healthcare has laid off hundreds of their workers in a moment's notice. And the reason for this? Budget cuts. There isn't enough money going around the system, supposedly. Now, many of the healthcare workers that got laid off, they are extremely loyal to these companies, have worked countless years in them, are extremely skilled. But do you think that really matters to these companies? No. And that is because if you work a 9 to 5 job, and if you're in healthcare or any other industries, you are replaceable. And the scary thing is, many of us base our decisions, base our livelihoods around the stability of a 9 to 5 job. And that system is starting to crumble. So today, I wanted to create a video to help people who are hearing these things, who are starting to get a little worried, navigate this path, how they can prepare themselves, how they can protect themselves against the risks, and how they can start to use artificial intelligence, a developing technology, in order to prepare themselves for what's to come. Let's start things off by talking about job security, because for a very long time, the 9 to 5 route, that was the gold standard for job security. You would get benefits, a pension, a consistent pay. It was everything that you could ask for, you could afford everything. But in today's time, in the year 2025, that system is starting to crumble. There is rampant inflation, a lot of changes are happening in the economy, and this doesn't exempt those big companies, those big corporations from feeling the same pressure. They are running out of money, and you, as a person who's working in those companies, you are on the chopping block. So just understand that I'm not trying to be dramatic or scare anyone or anything like that. But if you're working in healthcare and you are seeing things in the news, it is more important that you understand the facts and prepare to protect yourself than simply close your eyes, close your ears, and ignore the things, right? Because at some point, if it does happen to you, you want to have a plan B in order to keep yourself and your family safe. And that's exactly why I wanted to make this video today. And I'm telling you this from the perspective of someone who actually works in healthcare. I'm seeing how things are played out. I'm speaking with coworkers, and we are getting afraid. We are seeing things happen to our coworkers, to friends, right? And it is extremely important that you understand right now that these health corporations or whatever corporation you're working in, they're not really looking out for you the way that you think they are. They're not looking out for your growth. They're not looking out for your financial future. So what does that mean? That means that you yourself have to stay responsible and make sure that you protect yourself. And you have to do what is necessary in order to protect yourself and your family in order to secure your future. And this is where the problem starts to arise, because as a healthcare worker, you're going to ask yourself, what else is there? What else can I do? All I can do is work extra hours at my job, try to find another job. But even if you did all that, your income is going to barely increase. You're barely going to keep up. You're going to work just to simply survive. But at the end of the day, as human beings, we all want to thrive, right? We want to double, triple our income. That way we can buy back our freedom, spend more time with the family, travel, do the things that we want to do. So you need to find a way in order to exponentially increase your income as well as protect your future. And the only way that you can really do that, at least the way that I found, is you need to start something unique to you. Some sort of side service, side hustle, or even business itself. And you need to start building that foundation right now while you have the security of a 9 to 5. And this is where the misunderstanding starts to happen, because the moment that somebody hears business or side hustle, they're like, oh my goodness, I already worked so hard in healthcare. How am I even going to do that? But understand that starting something doesn't necessarily mean you need to spend endless hours, and hustle, grind away, and be super, super tired every single day in order to do so. You can start building the foundation in a very, very smart way, which I will share a little later in this video, but you can do this right now. The only thing that you need to think about right now is what are the skills that you have and how can you combine all your unique experiences, expertise into solving one particular problem for one particular person. Because that there is the foundation of any sort of business. You need to somehow solve problems with what you have. If you can do this with enough people and you can solve the right problems, that there is kind of your safety net. Because now you're not at the mercy of any sort of corporation trying to lay you off. You're not at the mercy of being stuck, being paid of a 9 to 5 wage. You are able to scale that income depending on how valuable your solution are and how good you are at delivering that solution. And I'll give you a few examples as someone who's working in healthcare. Say you're someone who works in therapy, who's doing a lot of rehabilitation services, and you notice that there's a problem that maybe all the families of your patients aren't really getting the training that they need. You can start some sort of side service to start teaching and educating the families on how to help these patients. Or maybe you're someone who's really an expert in treating shoulder injuries. You can start to create some sort of program using your own unique expertise to make sure that you fix these shoulder problems and help strengthen it and all that for a very specific population. And you can go ahead and create that own little side hustle yourself. There's so many unique ways to do this, and it only depends on how creative and how much you are willing to work on this problem. Understand that your value isn't tied to your job. Your value is tied to the accumulation of your skills, of your expertise, of your years and years of experience working in healthcare, but also other types of job. And you need to be smart with how you're going to use it to survive in today's time. And this is where most people get stuck. They think about starting a business, starting a side service, and they get completely overwhelmed. They don't know where to start, they don't know where to go, and they're just simply overwhelmed because you're already, working in healthcare, you're coming back, you're tired, you're drained, you don't really want to do too much, you don't have a lot of time. What can you actually do? And the solution to that, at least based on my experience, based off my trial and errors and failing over the years, is artificial intelligence. Because for many of you who haven't really experienced the power of AI, understand that AI is developing extremely, extremely fast. It's being integrated to a lot of different industries in today's time, and you would be a fool to not learn at least how this can help you in your own personal goals. And when I talk about AI, I'm talking about things like ChatGPT, a generative AI, an AI where you can ask it questions, ask it to do simple tasks, and it can start creating things from you simply based on what you are asking it to actually do for you. So for example, say I'm trying to start some sort of business and I don't really know how to create an evaluation form or a client intake form, right? How do I actually do that? A simple question to ChatGPT will create something that is extremely, extremely precise, and you simply can start using it as that framework to create what you need. The problem, and I think the reason why most people don't realize how powerful AI is because a lot of us use it as a search engine. They ask ChatGPT, hey, I'm trying to do this. Can you find something on the internet for me and answer this question, right? That is a very rudimentary way, a very simple way to use AI. But where I think AI really shines is once you start to teach it and train it based on what your goals are, your expertise, your interests are, and what you're trying to achieve. And then once you have a project to apply it to, you will start to see the power of artificial intelligence because it can create things basically from ideas up here. It can create it into tangible things on your computer. And then you can start using that to basically take action on what you need to do. Or maybe you're just unsure what your next steps are, right? Well, basically list down what you're thinking and help AI figure out what the next step is. Help it organize and brainstorm what the paths are forward. Of course, there are going to be ways where you need to learn how to ask the AI the proper questions, but understand that this technology is there for you to experience, and it's up to you whether you want to use that to your advantage or not. And here's where I want to share a little bit of my experience, because I'm not telling you that you should just completely quit your job and just start something and try something out using AI. No. What I'm telling you is you should start experimenting with AI to see what your unique experiences, skills, expertise are in order to create something unique where you can solve a problem in the world. Because that there will be the foundation of any sort of business, any sort of side service that you yourself can deliver. Because right now, simply relying on your 9-to-5 job is extremely risky. At any time, if things don't work out in your favor, well, then you're going to get really, really desperate. And what is the next step right there? Right now, while you have the stability, while you have the time, it is important you start experimenting and prepare for what's to come. Because personally for me, I am still working my 9-to-5 job. I didn't quit or anything like that, but I'm dedicating a huge portion of my time and my energy after I get off work into creating something unique myself, right? I'm using artificial intelligence to brainstorm ideas, to organize things, to create things, so that way I can work with actual clients. And actually, if anyone's interested, I am working with healthcare workers, teaching them how to use AI to build their own side services, their own businesses. And it doesn't really have to be something that is so complicated. It is as simple as communicating properly with the artificial intelligence. Because every day, all you need to do is just think about 1 to 2 things that you want to do and start using artificial intelligence to help you achieve that. You'll be so surprised at how much you can achieve, at how much you actually have to give if you simply just sat down and thought about it. I realized that the healthcare system has really warped our thinking and our confidence in ourselves a lot. We tend to tie our value a lot to our job description, what we do in our day to day. But understand that that is all simply just, you're just part of a system. You're just a cog in this giant thing, which is the corporation or the healthcare system. But you as a unique individual, you have such unique expertise and skills and interests that if you took time to develop it and create a structure on how you're going to use it, you can do some pretty cool shit. I think healthcare workers are one of the hardest workers, super honest, super loyal, and they just work their butts off. But unfortunately, the system doesn't reward themselves for the effort that they put into their jobs. I know a lot of people who are extremely, they're so good-hearted, they're really kind, they want to help, right? But just because you're hardworking doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get any sort of success. You have to be smart about it. And using artificial intelligence is probably one of the smartest things you can do right now. Please, please, please experiment and protect yourselves from what's going to happen in the future. So here's what you can do right now. It doesn't have to be overly complicated. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. All you need to do is 3 things. Number 1, open up ChatGPT or any sort of generative program and start teaching it about what your skills, interests, and goals are. Share with it, what you've learned in healthcare, what you're trying to do, any sort of experience before you work in healthcare, and basically start teaching it so that way it can help you the way that you need to be helped. Number 2, ask it to brainstorm ideas on how to start a business, a side hustle, a side service, whatever it is. Ask it to list down based on what you shared in part 1. Can you list out some of the ideas for me to consider for part 2? And after you do that, for part 3, simply ask it what is 1 or 2 tasks, things that I can do within, say, half an hour to an hour this week that will help me move forward to my goals. And that's all it takes. And you just simply do that week after week after week. And you'll be surprised that if you stay consistent, just like everything we do, just like exercising, just like working out, just like working, whatever it is, if you stay consistent, you will start making progress. Now, if you want a more structured way in order to do this, I have a free worksheet in the description below. Just go ahead and check it out. It's completely free. All you need to do is fill in the blanks and copy and paste it, and you will get the results that you need in order to take those first steps forward. So that's about it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you like it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. You'll be surprised at how much it actually helps me out. And yeah, that's about it for today. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the very next one. Later.